This week on Dude Stuff.
What is going on, guys? Steve from Dude Stuff here, and today we're going to be doing a deeper dive on the Quad Warehouse Racoon Pro 84 volt electric dirt bike. So I've already done a couple of videos on this amazing bike, and I just want to clear up a few things about it, the specs, going a bit of a deeper dive on the functionality of the bike. The first thing I wanted to clear up is there was a couple of people that commented saying this is basically an Admirjet Armour, which I think is an American electric dirt bike. Very similar bike. I don't know whether it shares some of the same factory or design. So with the Admirjet Armour, which some of the guys on the channel commented, that is it is a different bike. I can't see the similarities, whether it's come from the same factory, I don't know. However, there seems to be a problem with the Admirjet Armour with the gearbox being the weak link, and I've spoken to Quad Warehouse and they have been in contact with me for about a year before getting this bike, that is under development, and they've assured me after those comments that this is a different gearbox, different motor. It's not an Admirjet motor and gearbox in it. So whether this bike shares visibly some of the same design, so when you put them side by side, even from images off Google, the gearbox is a completely different casing and design to this. And I know Quad Warehouse have been talking about getting this bike to me for like over a year now, so they assure me it's a unique gearbox and motor design that's been in development for this bike exclusively for Quad Warehouse, so it hasn't got the same gearbox issues that the Admirjet Armour has. I just want to reassure some people that does seem to be the case. Even visually it just doesn't look the same, so I just wanted to clear that up off the bat to start with. So we're going to take a deeper dive into the functionality of this bike today, and just some of the features in a little bit more detail, starting off with the battery spec and the access of the battery. Battery's quite interesting how you access the battery. It is removable, so you've got a little insert, and on the left hand side of the bike you've got a little lever here which way do you bend it? Backwards. The front end, you just pull these fairings out of the poppers both sides, and then once you've unhooked it from here and the poppers, it just lifts up like a bonnet, which is pretty cool. Right, so you can obviously disconnect the whole battery pack by pushing this button and putting this lead out here. So you can disconnect the battery via this great big high power plug, and this whole thing is removable. So you've got a little red plastic clip here. Looks like you get spare ones in the underneath the seat. You get spare grommets for the fairings. I've only done this once before, I'm trying to remember how to do it. Oh, there we go. So flick this up. Remove this, and this whole battery pack is removable, which is pretty heavy. It's 72 volts, 60 amp hours. Oh, it's a bit of a beast of a battery. So this is the whole battery pack, which you can take out, but you know, I charge it in the bike. The spec on here says 72 volt 50 amp hours, but it's actually 60 amp hours. I think that's a regulation thing to get it in the country, to undersize the amp hours of the battery slightly. Weight 26 kilograms, so that's a battery pack. Whilst we're here, I think you got your controller here at the front, which is meant to be up to 300 amps. You've got a little ancillary inverter, a 12 volt electric inverter, which converts 72 down to 12, I believe, for all the lights. And you've got the gearbox here, that's all locked in there, and then you've just got this little safety pin here to stop it popping up. There's a battery, which I think is pretty cool. In fact, it's almost like a car bonnet. Right, guys, come in for a little secret, right? This bike is being given away on a raffle, and from what I can tell, nobody knows about it because there's been next to no flipping entries. Great news for you guys, absolutely sucks for me. In all seriousness, guys, I've mentioned this a couple of times on YouTube. You've got some right wallies commenting on it at the moment. It's a scam, blah blah blah. I can assure you it isn't, and it's listed on Raffle website, which is an independent website that does raffles. I have nothing whatsoever to do with it. I've got my own friends and family that have entered and haven't won. You know, I can assure you if I was rigging it and it was a scam, that it would be my friends and family and myself winning. I've already given away probably about 6 e-bikes, complete strangers, only £2 an entry, and I've already had, like I said, I think it's 5 or 6 lucky winners. Super happy. This is the most expensive bike I've ever put on there, and it's hardly had any entries, and it's still going to go to the lucky winner. It is ending soon, so highly recommend getting an entry in on this, whether you want to keep it for yourself, sell it, gift it to a friend, like for £2. Do you know what I mean? Like, it hasn't even gone to, it's not even gone to like 20% of the value of this bike, which is insane. So odds are really good. Slip on over to Raffle's website and get an entry in on this bike, because it helps support this channel. It's a bit of a vicious circle really, because this bike is literally going for peanuts and I can't put it off the website or do anything. I've had to kind of do some extra reviews this month for stuff that's not that interesting I don't want to do. So by putting your entries in, it's kind of supporting the channel, supporting me, and then I don't have to do reviews on boring stuff and I can build and review crazy stuff, which is where I want to be on the channel. So it's a win-win situation for all of us. I can do the content that I want to do, which I think you guys are going to want to see more, and I don't have to do these slightly less interesting e-bike reviews. But anyway, onto the bike again. This bike's available exclusively by Quad Warehouse, so check out the link in the video description for them. Really nice bunch of guys. This is probably like the 4th or 5th electric vehicle I've had off of those guys. Super friendly, based in the UK, and this bike's available for an on-the-road price around about £5,000. Now, you've got all the normal functionality you're going to get on a normal road motorbike. You've got LED lights. You've got the LED lights front and back, brake lights, indicators. The power mode delivery on this bike is set to, basically you've got, the main thing is a red high and low switch on the handlebars that you can flick between. I'm not actually certain of the exact amps. Like, I'm certain it changes the amps and controller, but I don't know exactly by how many. So obviously starting off on the bike for the first time, it's a good idea to have it in low until we get used to the power. But once you get used to this bike, it took me a little bit to get used to it, but once I was comfortable with it, always in high mode and always starting out in second gear, because it pulls hard in second gear the whole way through once you're used to the power. I don't even think you need to use first gear at all. It's also got a boost button on the handlebars, which temporarily delivers maximum amps from what I can tell, which I think it says 300 amps, so 72 volts. I think it's about 21,600 watts. Not actually sure whether you need to keep that button held in or whether you just press it and it gives you a temporary amount of extra boost, but it's quick. It is a quick bike. So up on the handlebars you've got a little digital display. It's got a few functionalities. It's got a P on it when it's in park, in neutral, or the kickstand's down. Lets you know whether it's in gear or not, because obviously being electric you don't want to accidentally tweak the throttle when it goes shooting off down the road when you're not on it. You've got the battery meter, you've got speed available in kilometers an hour, or if you press on the button on the left it converts it over to miles an hour. You've got a rev counter as such, and a trip computer, and just the basic functions you need. So it is a 4-speed manual, as I said, and it's got a clutch, and you've got the normal gear lever on the left hand side, the same as you would on any motorbike. But I have learned that the clutch functionality, although it kind of does the same as a motorbike, there is some key differences that takes a little bit of getting used to. The first thing is, when it's in neutral, it's very bizarre to be able to rev up an electric bike without it actually going anywhere. I found that quite amusing. So you can do the clutch, knock it into gear, and slow it out. You don't have to rev it. This is the thing. This is the main thing. It's not going to stall. Like, in your brain you're thinking clutch, you need to have a certain amount of revs, it's going to stall. It's never going to stall because it's an electric bike. So once the clutch is out, you can just pull away and pull up without pulling the clutch in, because it isn't going to stall. So the other thing to remember as well is, on a petrol bike you may find yourself slipping the clutch to give it more power with some revs on. I wouldn't suggest doing that on this, because I think it's just going to damage the gearbox. The power's there pretty instantly. You're not needing to. I've tried it a couple of times and it doesn't sound that nice. And there's no need to really, because this thing pulls. As most electric bikes, this thing pulls instantly, so you don't need to slip the clutch. The point is, you barely need to use the clutch on this thing. You don't need to put it in to pull up. And once, like now, it's in second gear, I can just pull away, no clutch, pull up, it's not going to stall. Although that sounds silly, it does take a little bit of getting used to, because anyone who drives a car or motorbike knows you roll up to the end of a road, a stoplight, you pull the clutch in so you don't stall, but not necessary this, and that takes a little bit of getting used to. This is the bike in second gear. This is my preference out of the 4-speed manual box, so just leave it in second, because it's not like you're missing out on anything. I mean, check the acceleration of this thing. Second gear, pull away. So this bike is 4-speed manual with a clutch. But the other thing this bike's got is a reverse gear, which is really unusual. So yeah, just flick the switch on the handlebars to reverse, and that's full speed. So you haven't got to worry about having 15-20 kilowatts going backwards. It's quite usable for pulling out of parking spots and things, so it saves you having to get off the bike. You have got this function, which I think is pretty cool. Guys, thank you so much for supporting the channel. Those of you who are not already subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. Like and comment on the video. It helps push the videos, helps me do better engaging videos. Thanks very much for your time watching this video today, guys. Hope you found it interesting going into a little bit more of the sort of technical details and the functionality of this awesome bike. Don't forget to check out Quad Warehouse. Really nice bunch of guys. Highly recommend buying this. I'm gutted that this bike's ending on the raffles soon. Don't forget to get your entries in, guys. Links in the video description. Absolute bargain for somebody, and I'm absolutely gutted to see this bike go. I might have to get another one in the near future. Check out the links for Quad Warehouse, all in the video description. Guys, coming up on the channel, I've got some other bits coming up soon when I get away from doing the boring run-of-the-mill e-bikes. I'm definitely not talking about this beast. This is the sort of thing I want to be doing on the channel. You might have seen in the background of the video, I've got this buggy which I've mentioned and given a sneak preview about. That is something that I want to jump on and get done this summer. Loads of you might have noticed in the background the van's had some work done to it, and I'm going to be doing some content and an overview video of that. So I've got all this stuff coming up on the channel and loads more, so make sure you subscribe, make sure you hit the notifications button, and I will see you guys in video soon. Thank you so much for watching.